Hello, everyone. How's it going? It's DJ. Okay. So I have a class today, but as a preface to the class, I'm also dog sitting right now, and she's a beautiful dog. Her name is Bella, but she's been here for about 20 minutes, and she's still figuring out the house. So she's walking around, smelling everything. So if you hear little, that's just her trying, walking around. Oh, she's whining a little bit. That's not good. So if I have to pause it, that's why. Because, it's tough when you're away from home. Who's a good girl, Bella? I know. Your family's not here. I'm sorry. But our class today, it was a class that was requested. It's what to do in an emergency, or how to handle an emergency. I know that everybody, and it's kind of a basic, what do you do in emergency class? Because a lot of the time, people either try to help too much, they don't help enough. It's like that fight, flight, or freeze. So sometimes people jump right in, which is what you're supposed to do, but if you don't have the training, like a CPR card, or you haven't taken a first aid class, and you don't know what you're doing, it's probably best that you try to find somebody who does know what they're doing. Flight means you run away, but you should never leave somebody in an emergency if they need help and just leave them be. You should really do your best to figure out what you can do. And freeze is just when you're like, I don't know what to do. And a lot of people do that. They're like, this is overwhelming right now. I'm not sure what to do. So what we're going to go over is just your basic what should you do in an emergency. Especially if you don't know what to do. There are things that you can do. And I bet most of you know what they are. But I want to make sure that you do know the basic steps. Like for me, having a CPR card, there's a whole checklist of things that I have to do, even before I start to help a person, whether they're unconscious, they're not breathing, or things like that. Now, we're not worrying about all that stuff. That stuff is for the EMSs or EMTs, which is emergency medical services or emergency medical technicians. So, let's go over how to handle an emergency. So a medical emergency means someone needs care from a doctor right away. And let's find out what to do if one happens, if an emergency happens. So calling for help is the most important thing someone can do in an emergency, especially, like I said, if you don't have the training and you just want to know what the best thing to do is. So if you make an emergency phone call, here's what to do. And that's the main thing, right? If you're somewhere, and especially if you're by yourself, and say you're with a parent, a friend, or just in a general situation, say, and you're the only one who can really do something to at least start the process, the one thing that we always know to do. Hi, Bella. Hi. It's okay. Don't hit your head. Poor little thing. Well, she's actually kind of a big dog, but the main thing that you can do is always call 911 on your phone. We have these all the time with us. Call 911. Even if you're locked out of your phone, there is still always a way that you can, there's always a way that you can make an emergency call. And a lot of times phones will say that emergency call only. Make that call. Do the emergency call. That is the best thing. And that's what we're supposed to do in an emergency. Hold on one sec. I need to help Bella. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, she's very skittish. But like I was saying, 911 It's easy. 911. Now, so that's what we do first. So take a deep breath to calm down a little. That is actually step number 1. You're in an emergency. You need to calm down. Call 911. You got your phone. You call 911. I'm sorry, give me one moment. My apologies. Got a phone call that I had to take. Usually I just let it ring. Hi, Bella. Where's the go, Bella? You want to say hi to the camera? She's so skittish. She's such a big dog, but such a scary cat. You're a good dog, Bella. And see, the way you can tell she's a little scared is her tail between her legs. So my job for the rest of the time that she's here is try to get that tail up and wagging. But for now, we're going over this. So you're taking a deep breath. You've calmed yourself down. 911. Now, one thing you should know is that 911 operators are very good. What they do is they'll help anyone through a situation, whatever that situation is. So don't be worried that you called 911 unless you did it for no good reason. But this is an emergency, so it's a good reason. So listen to what the operator has to say. They will direct you as best they can. They are also emergency medical professionals, and that's what we want to do, is just... Oh, Bella's going to her bed. Oh, goodness gracious. Please lie down. Okay, I'm going to keep talking because I think it's comforting her. So the first thing you do, you call 911, get on the phone. Don't be afraid. They are there to help. Tell the operator if there's an emergency. That's what you have to say. There's an emergency. And say your name and where you are. So knowing your address is very important. Knowing where you are is very important. So if it happens at home, please everyone know your address so you can tell the operator. If you're at program, I hope you all know the address of the program, but you'll have all of us on site as well. So this is if you're not at program and you don't have somebody else. Then there's also, say you're at the store and it happens. Know what store it is, know what city you're in. But then this is really important for everyone. For parents to teach people, for us just to make sure that everything's going to be okay. We have to make sure that, hey, this is where we are. It's okay, Bella. Sorry, she's a little freaked out. So, say your name, who you are, and where you are. Now, the thing is that back in the day, landlines, if you called a landline from a landline, that would route right to once you call from a landline, they know exactly where that landline is. Cell phones, they don't know where you are. So you have to know where you're at. Next, what you're going to do is explain what happened and how many people are hurt. So the operator will need all the information you can provide, so give as many details as you can. If you're in that state where you're kind of freaked, you're like, I don't know, it's just bad. Say, but give them the basics. They're down, they're breathing, but they're not conscious or they're not awake. But you gotta let them know just basically that. But no matter what, first thing is the address, so they'll be sending somebody right out towards you. And then after that, follow all of the operator's instructions carefully. So that's what you're going to do. Just make sure you follow the instructions carefully. Hi, Bella. Come here. It's okay. You're doing good. And then the last thing is to stay on the line until the operator says it's okay to hang up. Don't hang up. Well, that's the last thing that you want to do. Sorry, she finally lied down. And she's not whining. So you want to stay on the line until the operator tells you that it's okay to hang up, because they might have more information that they need to get from you. Now, after calling for help, your first thought might be to rush over to the person who's injured, but stop and look before you do. Make sure the scene is safe. If it's not, wait in a safe spot until an emergency medical person arrives. Sorry, not I misread that completely. But you wanna stay in a safe spot until somebody arrives, a medical professional. And the scene being safe is, is there anything that could fall on them, anything like that? Make sure that the scene is safe for you to approach it. If it's not safe, I'm guessing what they mean by that is maybe there's a bunch of traffic around, things like that. Make sure the person's okay and they're lying down all right, or whatever the situation is. But then what you want to do is make sure you're safe as well. But you need to stay within at least eye distance of the person so that when emergency medical services arrive, you can say, "Hello, it's me, here they are." Again, it's 911, and just listen to what the operator has to say. Wait for help. That's the basics of it. So if the scene is safe and you're sure someone called 911 or you yourself called 911, stay with the person who's injured and wait for help to arrive. And you don't want to move somebody who could have a neck or other bone injury, for instance, from a fall. Moving someone that has a sort of injury can make it much worse. Try to stay calm. And that's the main thing, is try to stay calm. And like I said, if you saw somebody and they just kind of fell down, don't try to move them. You can make the injury a lot worse. The best thing is make sure nobody else moves them either, unless they show you that they have, let's see. I'll show you what I have. So what I would have to do in a situation, if somebody was hurt and somebody was trying to figure out if the person's okay, I have I'm going to cover up my name even though you know my name, but I have my CPR card. So I would show people this. I have the training that I need in order to help this person. So if somebody doesn't, and is the first person there but they don't have a CPR card, then that person needs to step away and let somebody who does have a CPR card start helping them out with, depending on what they see. They've been through the classes, and so they want to see what's going on. Then you wait for emergency medical services, and then that's when the person who does have a CPR card backs away and says they know more than me. But anyway, your job, 911, stay calm. 911, listen to everything the operator says, wait for help. Now, here's the last part, being prepared for an emergency. So the best way to handle an emergency is to be prepared for one. Knowing what to do ahead of time can help you stay in control so that you can help. And this is always a good thing to go over with your families. Talk to them about it so that you're all on the same page. So here are some ways to be ready to help in an emergency. So, number one, when you're outdoors, make sure you're in an area where you can call out for help, even if you don't have a phone with you. So that's when you need to flag somebody down. If you don't have a phone, so that you can get somebody who does have a phone and say, it's an emergency, and you really want to be loud about it. I don't want to yell. I would, but I don't want to freak the dog out. Know how to call 911 or your local emergency number. In most areas in the United States, it's 911. In California, it's 911. If you have one, carry a cell phone or know how to use your parents' cell phone. Like I said, most of the time you can still make emergency calls. So say you didn't have a phone, and it's your parent or a friend or somebody else that's in the situation, you get their phone if you don't have yours and call 911. And then here's another thing that you can do with your family. You can do it on your own. You can do it with friends. But learn first aid. Look for basic first aid classes with your local Red Cross, the YMCA, the YWCA. I used to work at the YMCA, and we had tons of trainings all the time. The boys the boy or a Girl Scout, or yeah, through Scouts you can. 4-H clubs, your local hospitals, and other organizations. Or there's a lot of places, and take the class and just have the basics. Get your CPR card, and again, this way they'll kind of go over everything that you'll need to go over. So it is frightening to think about somebody getting hurt, but the truth is that accidents can and do happen. So it's good to know what the right thing to do is if someone needs emergency medical help. Even though you might not always know what to do, you can make a big difference by doing the right thing. So, again, just to go over at the very end, this took longer than I thought. Stay calm. There's an emergency. You see it's an emergency. Someone needs help. Stay calm. As long as you have a phone, call 911. If you don't have a phone, flag down somebody who does. Have them call 911. Stay with the person. Listen to everything the operator explains. Wait for emergency medical services to arrive to really help the person. Be ready to describe the situation and don't hang up the phone until everything is good to go. All right. Well, that is our emergency preparedness class in an in how to handle an emergency. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well, and I'll talk to you later on.